Hi everyone, and a very good evening to you. Here we are again with our program Real Talk from Woman to Woman. This week we are speaking about the virtuous woman. So today's Bible verse, I would like to get your attention to Proverbs 31 verse 12. And it says like this. Let me put here on the screen. It says like this: she does him good and not evil all the days of her life. Look at this. Here does not say she does him good sometimes. It doesn't say she does him referring to her husband. Does not say only when he's faithful. No, when it says she does him good all the days of her life, it means always, regardless of the way he treats her. Okay, so she always does him good. Now, this may sound a little bit like, how can I say, unfair, because how come if he treats you not nice, he doesn't treat you well, he betrays you, he is not careful with the finances, he spends it on his friends, on his addictions, on mistress. You may ask like this: how can I be good to a man that is evil, that only does evil? It sounds kind of harsh and hard, but then again, who said that Christianity is difficult? It is easy. Christianity is not easy. Christianity is difficult. Jesus also taught us that we have to forgive our enemies. We have to forgive those who hurt us. And even goes beyond and saying, when the disciples said, how many times do we have to forgive? And then he said 7 times. And then he said, no, not 7 times, but 70 times 7 means always. Right? So life, it's not easy. Life is difficult. Christianity is difficult. It's only for the few. Jesus also said, narrow is the gate. So if you think that you being a good wife, you will only do this only when everything is going your way, everything is going so smoothly, what would be the reward of that? Right? If you only do good to those who do you good, what would be the reward of that? You already receive your reward, right? But when you do good to someone who does not deserve, that's where the reward is. And the reward is not given by man, is not a praise, is not a gift. The reward is that comes from God is eternity. Okay, now when reading about this story, I was thinking about, Abigail. When I was reading this verse, I was thinking of people that have done good and only received evil. In fact, I was thinking of women, okay? But it came to my mind, Abigail. Abigail, she had an evil husband. You can read in your Bible. She had an evil husband. He was so evil that when David, he went there asking for food for himself and his men, he turned them down. David was the king, but he turned David down. He said, who are you for me to give you help? this man, Abigail's husband, had been helped by David. David and his men protected the flock of Abigail's husband. David did only good to him, but he was an evil man. Even Abigail said. So when David determined to kind of revenge him, Abigail went there and she told him, "Look, forgive my husband. He is an evil man. He's like he doesn't have a conscience. Forgive him." And she pleaded for her husband. She pleaded for her husband, for her servants, because everyone else was going to be killed. But you see, she was doing good even though he did not deserve. He really didn't deserve. But yet, all the days of her life, for as long as he lived, she did him good. How about you? What has been your attitude towards your husband? Have you been good to him? For example, if he has, he is not as studied as you, okay? Maybe he didn't have the chance to go to school. He didn't graduate. He didn't have a chance. He has always been on the wrong side of life, if I can say. How do you look at him? Do you look at him with good eyes and helping him, assisting him? Or are you looking down on him? I give you an example. I remember many times while doing counseling, I many times, countless times, I heard wives saying like this, "Oh, my husband, he doesn't have a job. My husband, he's just works in our farm." And I could see that often when these ladies, they speak about their husband like this, is like they are a nobody. You know what I mean? And then I often ask them, okay, so he works in the farm. Yes. So he does work. Maybe he doesn't have a formal job like from 9 to 5 in an office, right? Or he's not employed by anyone, but he's working your land. So he's working hard. He's a man, a hard-working man. So you cannot think that because he's working in the farm, he's doing nothing. Doing nothing means a man that stays at home, sleep the whole day, and at night he goes out with the friends and spend your money. He drinks. He doesn't try to find a job. He's just there being a parasite, living on your finances. Okay? That's a man that does nothing. And you, as a good wife, now listen to this. You, as a good wife, if you see your husband is living like a parasite depending on you, you, as a good wife and that wants to see the best in him and through him, what do? Do you send money? No. You teach him, listen, here's the thing. From now on, I'm not going to be sending you any finances. If you need money, you will have to look for a job. That is to do good for him. Sometimes you think by agreeing with your husband in everything he does, even what is wrong, you think by agreeing with her or zipping it, not speaking about it, not trying to bring the best out of him, you are doing him good. But that's not the truth. A woman that wants the best of her husband, does him good, she brings reason, sense to him. Maybe your husband, maybe you are more, use more your head. He is the one that uses more the heart, more impulsive. You, as the person that is more focused, you have to go and speak to him and try to bring him to it makes bring him to logic, making sense of things. Educate him with kindness, not humiliating, not pointing out fingers. For example, if he has a job that he earns less than you, but he works, maybe he's not as good paid, he is not as good paid as you are, but he works. You have to consider that. And you cannot be thinking that he's not doing well. Okay, he is not lazy, so he's working. So that is already showing effort. You know what I mean? So you, wife, you need to look and examine yourself. All of us have to do this and see how have I been, how has been my attitude towards my husband. Okay, do I look down on him? Do I think I'm better than him? If I think I'm better than him, or I can see that indeed I am better than him in most of the things. So how can I bring him to my level? And instead of humiliating him, bringing him up, I never forget, there was an assistant, okay? She became an assistant later. Her husband was a very simple man, okay? Also came from a poor background, as she did as well. And then he would be very shy, very, he was not a person that would make decisions, bold decisions. But she was a bold person, a very hardworking lady, a very good employee, a very good employee. And then she started to try to bring him to her level in all senses. Teach him how to use not his heart, but teach him how to use his mind to think ways to improve himself. And then she even brought him to Hong Kong. Okay, she paid for him to do the driving license here in Hong Kong. If he failed the first time, and she didn't put him down, she encouraged him, no problem, let's do it again. So what happened? She ended up winning him to Jesus. She ended up not only being good for him, for his finances, not only good for his, day-to-day life, but emotionally. She was like support for him. She was spiritually as well support, like a backbone for him. You know what I mean? Today, she went for good to the Philippines, to her province. She's serving there in the province. And her husband is serving together with her. But if she would have an attitude, a proud attitude, looking him like, I'm better than you, and looking down on him, never make him, bringing him to her level, she would always live frustrated in her marriage. But by being a spiritual woman, by being a good wife, what did she do? She benefited him, and she benefited herself as well, because now she can have a husband that is not dependent on her, financially, not dependent on her emotionally, spiritually. You know what I mean? So you need to think like that. Okay, your husband is not as good as you, no problem. But look at his qualities. Don't insult him. Don't look down on him. Because by doing that, you are doing good to yourself and you are doing good to him. And above all, you are pleasing God. So the good wife, she does him good and not evil, not only when he is good, but all the days of her life. Is a commitment of a lifetime. There are many wives that they start an affair because they think themselves to be better than their husbands. They start an affair despising their husbands just because they are simple. You know what I mean? Don't do that, because God doesn't do that with you. God doesn't do that with the poor. God does not do that with people that are less eloquent. Otherwise, you and I will have no chance. But look what Jesus said, what God does. He chooses the ones that are not, to bring to shame those who are something. Can you believe that? That's what God does. He takes those who are not to bring to shame those who think they are. You know what I mean? He takes the ones that have been despised and makes them servants of him. Will you despise now your husband? It comes to my mind again, Vashti, the Queen Vashti, right? Remember Queen Vashti? What was her problem? It was her beauty. She thought herself so important, so good, that she started to look down on her husband, not respecting him. And where did it bring her? Dethroned. And you look, on the other hand, Esther, only doing good to the king. Only doing good, not only to the king, not only to her husband, but also to the whole, everyone around, to her people. All her days being a queen was to serve her people, to be the voice of her people. Can you see? What is to be good is not only expecting to receive something back, is to do good even when people cannot give you anything back, cannot repay you, especially for those. Especially for those. That includes your husband, that includes your children, that includes everyone that you may look and say, this person cannot add anything to me, but you still are good to them. Okay? A good wife, even if the husband betrays them, is possible. But who is going to lose? Is it the good wife or the husband that is unfaithful? Who is going to have a heavy conscience, not be able to sleep well at night, being tormented by the thoughts? Who? The good wife or the unfaithful husband? So you have to weigh and think of yourself. Who I want to be. And by the way, let's not forget that all of us, you and I, all of us, we are wives of the Most High God. He chose us to be His bride, right? So doing good for God is doing good for those who have nothing to give us or cannot give us much or only hurt us. Look, Jesus said, when they said, "Oh, I was naked and you clothed me. I was in prison and you came to see me. I was hungry and you gave me food." And then the servants, they said, when were you in prison and we went to visit you? When were you hungry and we gave you food? When were you were naked and we gave you clothing? And Jesus said, everything you do to these small ones, you are doing it to me. So the good you are doing towards your husband and those who do evil towards you, the good you do to them, you are not doing for them, you are doing it for Jesus. Now you understand the reward in heaven. Okay? That's all we have time for today, reminding you, if you did not watch, or if you have not yet watched the story of Esther, you can subscribe to Unive Video. You will be able to watch the Queen of Persia, which is the story of Esther, well elaborated, and it shows you what is to be a good wife, what is to be a good person, okay, in the eyes of God. Don't worry, because there is English and voiceover in English. So even though the soap was done originally in Portuguese, you can there is voiceover and there is also English subtitles. So don't miss it. Okay, that's all we have time for today. We are going to go for our evening service. Today is the Bible study. I'll see you here in the church if you are coming tonight. Otherwise, I'll see you during the week. But don't forget as well that we have our prayer of agreement tonight at 10 p.m. straight after the evening service. It may start slightly later because of the evening service, but stay tuned, stay connected, okay? And we will see you again tomorrow at the same time. May God bless you, and let's reflect today on our attitude. How have we been a good wife? Are we doing good to our husband, not good in our sight? Okay, because that is irrelevant, but good according to the word of God or not. Where are we lacking? Write it down so that you can put it into prayer. Okay? May God bless you. May God bless all of you that have left your names here in the chat during the program. May God bless your family, and be the light for your family. Be a good reference. Be the living testimony of Jesus to your family. Okay? See you. Bye-bye now. Has this program been of help for you? Feel free to share with someone who also will benefit from watching it. You feel free to press the share button, and if you want, you can like it and leave your comments below. God bless.